When Samit called me and gave this interesting and impossible task to manage this panel to talk about future, it reminds me of anecdote. In 1991, when I came first time to Dubai with my father, selling diamond and gemstone, and I met Tawheed Bhai at his office in Gold Souk. And if I would have asked this question to him, what is the future of gem and jewelry industry in Dubai? I'm talking 91. None of us would have really imagined, but there are few people who are on panel have seen and navigated the way. So I think it's a great honor for me to welcome this distinguished panel. Please, a round of applause for everyone. So I just want to set up the 45 minutes what I've been given to me for this amazing panel. Any time is less for this, but I'll try to do in two sections. One is certainly, I'll ask individually each one of the panelists to give their thoughts into how they see the Gulf region, the GCC, in years beyond current, which is like 1 to 6, 7 years' time, how they see the markets evolve. And my second part will be really asking about what are the current challenges which we face. So I wanted certainly to start with interesting and positiveness in the environment. So I'll let Mr. Tawheed Abdullah to start with the question, what he thinks the industry is heading in next 5 years.
Thank you for selecting me. Is it going by age?
No.
Well, I appreciate, first of all, to put this together. I think Samit has done a great job. Samit and I goes long way ago, and he has managed to come to me with a smile and a quick presentation and take every quarter 5 to 6 million dirhams. So I appreciate that he is positive. He's been doing it and he's been successful. Thank you. Mr. Amit, you are dictating for us to start with the positiveness. I think it is more like to say it's a positive challenge. I see we are in a very lucky part of the world because till date, we are on the most part of the world, the subcontinent and the Middle East of consumer of jewelry. So as part of the positiveness, we are already in a market which are heavy consumers. And as you have only 45 minutes, I would like to go down to the main point, which is positiveness and challenges. I think our industry is in a tremendous challenge. And I think I have stated in a small note here, few points of them. And the first point goes to the people, the mentality, the owners of this industry. And I think if we do not really take a few days of a break and go and think about what is to happen as you are requesting for the 5 years, I think the first stop is to take a few days and rethink about what we are doing. Are the bigger company today organized, well-established, financially solid, going to take over the business? Are the smaller operator going to disappear? I don't think both of them are on the right track for the time being. Because I think the big companies, big groups, are still with the mentality of the shop in mamas and papas, but in multiples. It is still working. I don't think it will last forever because the retail store is probably going to vanish on years to come. Is the smaller operator having to face a big threat because of the financials and because of the collection he's having? Yes, indeed. They are going to be the most vulnerable link of our business, which consists of 80% of the market worldwide. I think they have to go back, including myself, and rethink, are we going to continue to be the mamas and papas store? That is not going to work anymore. We need to be more and more specialized. One store in a specialized product can have a much more successful future to be. Thank you.
Thank you, Tawheed Bhai. So certainly great valuable inputs, rethink, strategize, specialize. Thank you so much for your inputs.
Sorry about it.
Oh, Anurag, we missed you. I was wondering why one chair is empty when I have to stand. All right. I think next one, certainly I would like Mr. Nizar Mukhtar from Al Rumayzan, Assistant Managing Director. Saudi Arabia, Mr. Nizar is in limelight with the Vision 2030, and everybody around the world is looking Saudi Arabia as a new growth engine for various industries. We would like to hear from you what is there for us as jewelry business and jewelry industry. This, we certainly want some light from your side.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everybody, and I'm very delighted to be in front of you all, between you all good colleagues. I will go direct pinpoint to save the valuable minutes for my colleagues. Let's talk about the market size in Saudi Arabia, first of all. It's about 35 to 40 billion riyals. And gold, it's 70% out of this number. There is a diamond jewelry and the colored stone jewelry, about 30%, so it's up and down. And let me point out that the last 2 or 3 years, everybody knows that the market was dropping for different reasons. One of it, the condition of the political, economic issues, and the price of gold is going up. And on the other hand, I think the market, we have to be optimistic. We think optimism. And market of Saudi Arabia now, they are, let's say, reorganized the market, structuring the market in the good way to match the 2030 Saudi vision. And there is some initiative and some of platforms. Now they are working on it. You will see new companies, new alliance companies, small companies will united together, and you see new names, and some of the old classic poor companies, they will leave the market. Unfortunately, I don't wish that, but this is, in fact, if they did not develop and restructure and reorganize themselves and so on. On top of that, Saudi Arabia government, they are working on especially on this sector. There is one of the biggest industrial area in Jeddah with the logistic services, and one going to be in Riyadh, ideal industrial city. And we will see a lot of academies for different, for jewelry technologies, gemology, designing, and all these things. And we will see also, we have actually the local jewelry exhibitions, but we will see regional, we will see international also. And with the update of the customer office, this is what I
Thank you.
can give.
Thank you, Mr. Nizar. So certainly if we take what you're saying is consolidation, rethinking, getting up to date to the market, growth and development by government in various academies. So we are looking some good movement happening there. So certainly there is an opportunity, and thank you so much for sharing this insight. I would like to address Michael, CEO of Dhamani Jewellery. Dhamani has been a household name in the region and one of the most structured company in terms of the way it's run by board and through various structures. We certainly want to understand how Dhamani is looking 5 years from now, because certainly the strategies and vision what you put is beyond day-to-day or a short term. So how Dhamani is looking this industry in the region?
Yeah, no, thank you. I think everybody needs to have a long-term plan, right? I think it's not just Dhamani. We're clearly, a major player in the region, and we are still very long-term, very optimistic about the future of the region, the whole GCC in general. And you have to prepare a little bit for the future, right? I think it doesn't make sense to take short-term actions. Clearly, you know, there is a challenge at the moment across the whole region, right? I think for most retailers, not just in jewelry, but in general, this has not been a great year, right? So, but, you know, at the same time, you know, we do need to put plans in place for the long term, because long term, there is still a lot of opportunity here. I mean, there are some territories in the GCC that are not yet fully developed, Saudi, for example, other ones as well across the Middle East, beyond the GCC. So there's potential there. I think clearly in this region where we're sitting in Dubai, it is a very mature market. It's very developed already. There's not a lot of room for, let's say, new entrants into the market, right? Maybe there will be some consolidation even, but we have not yet done a good enough job, I think, as an industry into harnessing what it has and really catering to our consumers who do love to buy jewelry, right? I think, you know, we saw some great presentations in the beginning of this forum around, you know, the digital transformation. Clearly, that's an opportunity. You know, I myself, I'm relatively new to the jewelry industry. I don't have the experience of this illustrious panel here, but I'm a retailer. I have a lot of experience in retail, and I've been involved with some big international brands such as Nike and Levi's, and you know, these kind of industries are at the forefront of really connecting very well with the consumer in terms of obviously through the digital transformation, you know, omni-channel, finding new ways and exciting ways for the consumer to connect and to shop. And also, you know, through customization, right? That's also a potential long-term opportunity that, for example, the apparel industry has been able to do. So I think longer term, there are many ways we can do a better job. And clearly, when the economy picks up in general, it may take some time, may take 12 months, may take 18 months, but at some point, growth will return, and tourism will pick up, not just for the expo, but beyond. We need to have the right, obviously, product assortment and understand that consumer that will be coming.
Thank you, Michael. I think very valuable inputs from somebody who's not a long time in jewelry industry, but in high-end retail. So certainly digital, learning from other industry leaders, and really trying to relook on a regular basis how we are up against other category products. Thank you, Michael. Next, I would like to have Mr. Chandu Siroya, owner of Siroya Jewellers. Chandu bhai, you are on the panel. You are one of the biggest importer of gold jewelry from India for years and years, and also a bit in retail. But more than that, you have an insight in the region while you supply the goods to the region. So certainly we would like to get your insight. Where is this region heading in terms of the business of jewelry, gold and diamonds, or whatever best you can update?
First of all, very good afternoon to everybody. Thank you, Samit, for bringing all of us here and making a fantastic beginning for this new season, I say, because the climate is changing, and I hope the business season will also change. I am very, very positive about the Middle East. Not only the Middle East, I am very, very positive about UAE, because I believe when the government listens to the problems of the people, tries to find solutions to the problems of the traders, and walks along with them, there cannot be anything which will hold them back. Right now, what we went through in the last 1 or 2 years has been a global phenomenon. It is not that any jewelry, or in fact, most of the businesses worldwide are not doing so well. So I believe that we are in very, very safe territory. Hearing what was said about Saudi Arabia and the growth of the jewelry industry there, I think we are all going to be complementing each other in terms of the manufacturing capabilities which will come up there. The trade will increase. So I'm very, very positive. The only thing is that if we have the patience and the, I would say, the mindset to say, okay, I've made a lot of money from this country. We grew from nothing. We were, back in the late 70s, early 80s, Dubai was hardly 20 stores, 30 stores maybe, to today maybe 3,000 stores. So if we have grown so much, I'm sure we will have the patience to, I would say, sweat it out, and I'm sure great things are ahead of us.
Thank you, Chandu bhai. I think you touch on a very important point of government policy and ease of doing business, and we are very, very thankful to the highnesses and the visionaries of this country and the region who really interact and integrate the trade concerns and support the industry for growth. I think very, very valid point. At the same time, the regional learning from each other, a manufacturing base, a retail base. Thank you so much, Chandubai. It's a great input. I think let me bring Maha in the scene now. Certainly a very amazing designer from UAE and has been here. And let's hear from her side when she's talking to these consumers, these women who are wearing jewelry. What is happening at that end at various age level, and where do you think we are? Are we all in the right industry? We can continue much more, and what do you think about it?
Well, my story is totally different than
I know.
anybody else's in terms of when I started my business. It was like 12 years back, and it was at that phase where everything is changing so fast. So whenever I was trying to structure and make plans, I have to change it immediately because, you know, everything is changing in terms of the way you think of designs, the way you sell it, the way you announce your lines, and so. For myself, what I see that now that we are moving to the next phase, which is also changing a lot and very quickly, what I see that what I used to do is mostly custom design is shrinking. Collectors are less now, and people are looking for branded items that everybody wants to see the same item on so many faces. So we need to take advantage of the platforms that we have now, which is social media and all the medias that makes a shortcut to be known. Today, I'm every day putting a new plan and trying to reach the most possible in a shorter term. And what I see today is mainly when we are working on our brand, on our name, to have an image that is stuck in the heads, that is helping us to reach more and gain the history of the big jewelers that have a long history and everybody knows them. So it's our opportunity today to take advantage of those platforms.
Lovely, thank you. I think, Maha, you touched on a very interesting point. Branding, social media, and how young brands like yours and other people can learn from these new tools of growth, which certainly are not exclusive to only bigger company, but even independent young designers and retailers. And I think I will touch on an interesting call I got last week from a radio station for a deal which was going on. And you all know the deal, and they just surprised me by a call and asking, so what do you think about X company buying Y for X amount of billions? And it was 6:30 wherever I was. I replied to him, listen, actually it's very positive. Because if somebody is offering X amount of all cash deal, they look a big upside in our industry. So first of all, the industry health is there. That's why somebody of that stature comes and put money in. Number two, if they're putting so much money, they will spend at least 20-30%, which is few $1 billion to grow that business, which will be a domino effect in everybody in this room, which we are challenged because other categories are cannibalizing our business. Many times it's not a challenge between jewelers. Many times we say our industry is challenged with the bags, with phones, with travel, with destinations. So I think certainly we have to see as an industry how we utilize these social media, these platforms, this new way of doing business to connect to the client. So thank you, Mahar, to bring that. My next question will be to Anurag Sinha, Liali Jewellers. Anurag Bhai, you have been certainly an established jewelry company here, but really formatted the new way of retail with terms of your idea and structures, not coming from the jewelry background family, but certainly worked as a professional and built Liali Jewellers where it's today. What do you think way forward?
Thank you, Amit Bhai. Good evening, everyone. So what amazes me today is that how many families are inducting youth, the next generation, into the business. Are we really inducting them the way we got inducted and the way we started 20, 30, 40 years back? Is that Stone Age thinking still working? And we're trying to pass it on to the next generation. At the same time, not letting them do what's required and controlling it. Or are we letting them do and think and take the wisdom out of the older generation and implement in the business? So going forward, when you see so much of technology coming in, jewelry merging with lifestyle is not just pure possession and value and investment angle into it. It's a combination of technology, combination of style and fashion, a combination of the youth population, which is very huge in the Middle East. Are we really talking to them the way they want to listen, the way they love to listen, or are we just doing the same old hat thinking? Going forward, I can see the amount of presentations that we made from the tech companies. These will be the ways. There has to be a technology and tradition, a mix of both, because end of the day, jewelry is something that people don't like to give up or give away or throw away. And I have seen, and I've actually spoken to some top-end consumers that what do you do with a prized handbag or a pair of shoes or an expensive scarf? And they all say that, listen, beyond a point, we give it away. It's out of fashion. And so would you throw away your 1 gram or 2 gram gold pendant, which is beyond repair? Never. What is that 2 gram, 1 gram gold pendant value worthwhile? Is it 300 dirhams, 500 dirhams? They're not willing to give it up, but they're willing to throw away their bags or give away their bags, which cost few of thousands of dirhams or dollars. So the attachment and the possession of jewelry is still very strong, regardless of what nationality, what culture, where you come from. The way forward is how to marry this emotional attachment of jewelry with technology, talk to the youth, talk to the next generation the way they want to listen and hear and appreciate the industry per se rather than their mind space being captured by other industries.
Thank you, Anurag Bhai. I think it's a very interesting point. It's not about how we have done business in past, how we integrate youth, and not just telling them, but asking them. At the same time, asking not only the people who all work for us or who lead the business, but also the consumer, who's actually the ultimate beneficiary of all what we do. But good point you bring out about this possession aspect of jewelry, and everybody want to keep their jewelry. And very nice you touched on that in terms of value of even 2 grams, they would like to keep it. Thank you, Anurag Bhai, to bring it. Next, certainly, I'd like to ask Kaushik. Kaushik from Jewellery Jewels has been in this market. I think it's a generation business, but certainly, you know, with his taking the reins of business, how he's transforming and what he feel or see in the landscape of big brands coming in, landscape of big structured retailers coming in. Where is the place for family-owned businesses running jewelry in this region?
Thank you, Amit. Hello, everyone. Good evening, and thank you, Retail Jeweler, for the opportunity. Interesting, you should ask that question, Amit Bhai. I believe Tawhid Bhai just said that there is obviously the last 2 or 3 years have been the most challenging for this part of the world. And as Chandu Bhai said, not just this part of the world, but I believe for just about every segment, every industry, and not just in GCC, but worldwide. The very fact that we are here discussing future and we are discussing the next 7 years shows that we are all optimistic about the future. Because otherwise, those who are not would have left by now. Now, when we talk about technology, innovation, we talk about corporates, everything is a double-edged sword, in my opinion. The very technology that we spoke of today, if used correctly, is benefiting us, but if not used, is hurting us. And I'll give you an example. The jewelry industry was considered to be a business which had a very high barrier of entry. You needed large capital. But that is the thing of the past. Today with technology, you can have a very minimalistic capital. You can come in, you can put up a web page, you can put up an Insta story, you can go get 20 pieces of jewelry designed, and you can come in and have a thriving business. And you can take orders and you can compete with one of the finest retailers. So these are the challenges which we as retailers, I believe, are obviously going to face. It is something that we have to, either we adapt with the technology or we probably face the brunt of it. Another example, again, we speak about this region. It is one of the finest regions in terms of jewelry per capita consumption. The second best thing about this region, that even the next generation that's coming in is extremely prone. They are very, very fashion conscious, and they love jewelry. Like Ms. Maha said, the trend is moving towards branding. The reason for that is, again, the social media, the Instagrams, being posted, seeing or being seen with some of the finest pieces of jewelry. Again, a double-edged sword as far as the local mom-and-pop stores are concerned. Once again, you need to come back and think, what do you want to carry as your collection? Your inventory, which was your strength, can very easily become your weakness. Simply because you are stifled with so much inventory, you aren't able to turn your stock fast enough and change your designs. So the opportunities or challenges, no matter how you look at it, it's just our perspective. You can sell sets, as we saw earlier today, simply by showing a picture. On the other hand, we feel that our clients want to come in and they want to really try on an exclusive piece of jewelry. Then are we able to offer the right opportunity, the right environment to them? Like I said, one other point that I would like to touch upon with respect to GCC is the fact that this is one of the finest areas, as I said. But what does that lead to? That leads to a lot of people from around the world come into the GCC and also dump their jewelry, which I have seen, or most of us would have seen, whether it's through exhibitions, whether it's through, house-to-house calls, whichever way we look at it. So,
Good.
yes.
I think you touched on various aspects. Technology, friend or foe. Is it opportunity? Is it a challenge? Do I like head or I like tail? I think the interesting thing here is certainly, like you said, addressing what is happening now and trying to find a niche where you stand and how you operate. So certainly, like you rightly said, it's not about you being the big eating small, it's the fast eating everybody. So I think it's the faster who's winning the race. And certainly I'll get back to you in the second round for other points.
I think agility is the word as we should use correctly.
Certainly.
The more agile we are, I think the better placed we will be in this market.
Absolutely. And this brings me to the first round and last one on the panel, Ms. Lulwa. She have come all the way from Kuwait. Even we say we are knowing about GCC market and we are here, we certainly want to understand what is happening in Kuwait and with a young designer like you and where you see the market in that region and beyond is progressing.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for such an opportunity. To be honest, I'll give you a bit of a different perspective of my point of view, younger generations in this industry. As you said, speed is a point of view, and if you're not actually a Ferrari, Lamborghini might take over your place in such an industry. I've been 5 years in the industry, but 1 year an actual brand. So what we're seeing, 5 years before, you cannot see the number of huge designers and easy accessibility to suppliers. So what makes you special is not only your design, your quality and price, and easy access to the customer, and your knowledge, what you have in the industry. Kuwait actually has got one of the best designers, young designers, before other countries in the Gulf, because we were exposed more for the jewelry industry, as it was monopolized by big jewelers. So around 7 years ago, designers were not accepted in the market. Nowadays, as you can see, the designers are competing with high-end brands, and the quality, the details, the design, but the most important thing is the stability in this market, and a design that can be worn and sell at the same time.
Thank you so much. And I think, Kaushik, here is where you have to talk after the panel. Lulwa is there, and she's the one who's representing the young designers and saying, boys, it's not, sorry to use the word, ownership of old jewelers to run the world. We are here, we are young, we are not from jewelry business, but here we come, be ready. And be ready, otherwise we are coming all the way through. Or you support us, you align with us, you partner with us, whatever is the way it is, but you have to look beyond. And I think it brings me to my second part of this session, and I want to do it a little more like like a one spot round, and I'll give time everybody to think. I would like whatever is one aspect in top of your mind for your business, which will give an advice to other people to look beyond. For example, in my mind is innovation. So you can just say, somebody can say design, somebody can say anything. So please, maybe I can start from Anurag Bhai all the way to that side. What is one sentence advice which you want to give to all the jewelers in the room and beyond they should look at with your experience of business to really be ready for this future?
Innovation and marketing. It's not my phrase, it's Peter Drucker's phrase, that you die if you don't innovate and you don't market. That's the only way forward for this industry and any other industry.
Thank you. I think, Samit, somebody's making notes. We'll get a very nice collection of amazing things what we have to do after the event. Maha.
I guess today the story behind is very important because we're looking at something that we are missing nowadays, which is the touching part of anything that we do.
Great. Story behind. Michael.
So my one sentence advice would be know your customer, because I think it's key with right now at the moment the footfall, the traffic of shopping across the region is not necessarily great. It's been shrinking a little bit. It's going to be a little bit flat. So it's obviously critical that people when they do come into a store that you have exactly what they're looking for, right? So it's
loyal customers. Thank you. Tawheed Bhai.
Mine is a little bit more aggressive. We have to work harder, no matter what, requesting government, big organizations to groom more young generation, because without them, like the audience totally agree, I hope, with me and the panelists, that without the young generation, we are going to face much more challenging than what we are having now. So we need to groom them. We need to bring them in business, either by competition or inserting them within our organizations, and they have to be wrapped. Our business, we need to start thinking of technology. Till date, from 50 years ago till today, I think we are one of the most illiterate industries in the world not using technology, either in inventory or manufacturing or digital promotion and so on. So this is my way of thinking. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Technology, digital. Thank you, Tawheed Bhai. Mr. Nizaria.
Yes, my advice to any company who want to enter the new market, the designs and the designs. Market research. For example, in our capital of Saudi Arabia, Riyadh, it's about 6 million populations. We have retail branches in all Riyadh. The designs in the north of Riyadh is not suitable in the design to the south of the west of Riyadh. It's different. So I've been asked before 15 years ago. There was an Indian delegation in Saudi Arabia. What your advice to the Indian merchants or manufacturer? I told them, you have to make a market research for the designs and improve the quality, finishing quality. That's my advice.
Thank you.
Thank
So design and market research. Thank you, Mr. Nizar. Ms. Lulua.
So I'll keep it simple. Sustainability in the market.
All right, sustainability. I think we can elaborate that in everything. Sustainable is an amazing word we can utilize in all aspects of business. Thank you so much. Chandu Bhai.
I'm a little old-fashioned, and I believe every jewelry purchase is with a lot of emotion. And I say, build the trust and retain their trust. Do not let your customer down.
Trust, I think this is certainly the most amazing thing, and I think that certainly will take us a long way. Trust and loyalty.
I don't think there's much left in our industry to talk about after this panel. So the only thing I'll say is consistency. If we can manage to do all of the above consistently, I think we as an industry will not have any issues.
Thank you so much. And my main idea of doing this, I think, please, big round of applause for all of our. The main idea of doing this one quick question was to really show that people on this panel who are coming from different markets, different vertical of businesses, different aspect, they all look at one key element to make their business successful. So it's up to us as businesses, retailers, wholesalers, but as a jeweler, what we do more of and what we do less of. Certainly depending on the clients we are addressing, the markets we are, the various aspect of ecosystem, I think all these points are amazing, but again, at the degree you have to choose. And what I'll do is certainly open it up for 2 questions. I just want to have a raise of hand from somebody who's coming from Bahrain. Is there anybody from Bahrain here? Saudi Arabia. So anybody from Saudi maybe would like to ask a question to a panel. Nobody in, which other nationality, Samit? Anybody, all right. So let's see, one at extreme left of mine. All right, Abid from DMCC. Abid, go ahead. It's coming behind you.
We don't.
It's on.
Yeah, we don't throw away the jewelry. Is it not counterproductive that the young generation is not going into jewelry because once you buy it, you cannot do anything with it. You buy a phone, 2-3 years, you throw the phone, you move on. Whereas when it comes to things like jewelry, you keep it for life, so you don't have a choice. People are not sticking to things for long now.
So I think the question is, how about iPhone 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10? What is our jewelry 1, 2, 3, 4, 10? Anurag bhai, maybe if you'll answer this in a quick 1-minute bite, because we'll still have 5 minutes for others.
It's a great question, Mr. Abid. Yes, you don't go to jewelry 1, 2, 3, 4, iPhone 1, 2, 3, 4, but you can always have a trade-off. There's a lot of trade-on offers. People sell. So people, when they buy jewelry, they know that there is some value retained, most of the value retained as compared to any other product. So the buyback, the sell back, the exchange value, a combination of that, the retailers' buyback exchange policies will definitely work with the consumers where they say, listen, I'm fed up of using it, let me do that. But by and large, from little experience that I have in life, it doesn't really happen. No matter how young the generation is, they are just attached to it. What generally happens is that people buy an item of a collection and they want to add a second and a third item to that collection and fill it up, rather than saying, I'm fed up of this and let me give it back.
I think an interesting question and interesting answer, but it opens a lot of opportunity for people in the room and beyond. Everybody said that the taxi industry challenge were not addressed by taxi industry people. It was a third-party technology. You got Uber. So maybe a new way of innovation in which you encourage the customers to come back and buy the version 2 or version 3 or version 4 of your jewelry. We don't know. Maybe 3, 4, 5 years down the line, we'll talk about it. So certainly thank you for this amazing question and answer. Anybody on this side of the hall? All right, the gentleman in the middle, please. The mic is on your left.
Thank you. Yes, good evening, everyone.
Can you just address where you're from? Sorry.
I am Mohammed Al-Abbadi from Al-Abbadi Jewellery.
Okay.
I want to point out some points.
I think if we can make it brief, because we'll have 2 more questions, so a minute each.
Yeah, for sure. Actually, we are mainly in the retail industry, and we face a lot of customers and a lot of differences in our branches. I want to point out some of the things that we have noticed in the past, let's say 2 or 3 years. One thing is that, you know, there should be a competitiveness among the market, and this is a healthy thing. However, sometimes the competitive advantage is coming in 2 ways. Distinguishing yourself by, like, as you said, the collective, ideas that came from the board in front of me right now, which is like innovation and technology and everything. However, the other side, and it's like the bad side for the business, it's like making things a little bit easier for the customer in a way that it's like bad for the business as a whole. One of the examples, it's let's say, promotions and discounts that are not, let's say, not good for the business as a long term. Maybe, let's say, the people in the country here, the industry, people in the sector, they know about these things, like contacting some of the influencers and providing discounts that are not, reasonable. And it's not good for the business as a future. We are talking about the future.
So I think certainly, very valid point, and I think it's just a thought which you are sharing in terms of how we have to address the challenges of market in terms of discount, promotions. Somebody just mentioned oversupply, dumping, and all that. So certainly, I think it's a very, very valid point, and it's an interesting for each ecosystem, each country or the market to see that how they address it in the best way possible. So certainly I'll hold on there with you, sir, and I'll have somebody else to quickly.
Very quickly.
Half a minute.
In half a minute. So as a retailer, I feel that pain on a daily basis. I attribute it to a lack of information or lack of knowledge. As much as the audiences in this part of the world, they are informed and educated, they still miss out on a lot of key elements of what goes into jewelry. So I believe as retailers, if we are able to educate the client, then it doesn't matter what percentage discount is there, because they have to understand the value in the product. And if the value is there, then the price becomes pretty much irrelevant, because you may be only offering 10% discount, but yet far better value than somebody who's giving 90% discount.
Thank you so much, Kaushik Bhai. One last question before I conclude. Anybody who have an urgent question in mind for this amazing panelists here? If not, I'll want, please, a quick, less than a half a minute from each participant. Maybe I start how we started with Mr. Tawheed to conclude the panel. Can you have the mic, please?
Thank you very much for this conference again. To end it, I think we need to be more realistic, and we need to face the situation with more open mind and going back to most what's been presented on this panel in a very serious way before it is more challenging.
Thank you. Mr. Nizar?
Thank you very much for this chance, and I love to see you in Riyadh next time. Thank you.
Thank you. I was there, for the. All right, okay. Ms. Lulua. No,
I'm going to be next?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's fine.
Thank you for such an opportunity.
All right, lovely. Chandu.
I would like to actually add to what Amit was saying.
We are very short. Samit is standing on the right. Please, there are other people. Quick.
You see what Abid said, I believe that jewelry is always going to be in fashion, jewelry is always going to be in demand, and I think every woman, if given the option, do you want one additional piece? She'll say yes.
Kaushik?
Just that as an industry, we are amazing. We should work together. The more coherent we are as industry together, the better we will perform. So instead of having any kind of fighting within the industry, we should more be looking to fight the handbags or the holidays or the mobile phones. And I think that we can do together.
Thank you so much. Michael? The mic on the left.
Yeah, I would just like to add on to what the last question from the audience was, that around the promotion discounts. I agree, it's a downward spiral. We need to find a way to get out of it, because it's a no-win situation as an industry, right?
Thank you. Maha?
There's a say in Arabic, they say that jewelry is zine and khazine, which is elegance and value, and I believe it will go on this way.
Thank you so much. Anurag Bhai?
Thank you all. I think if we all have a lot of passion towards this trade and industry, there's no way nothing can hurt it.
A big round of applause to all the panelists, and I request everybody to be there on the picture podium. And Samit, we have 45 minutes.
Well moderated, Amit Bhai.
That's very, very kind of you. Thank you. A humble request for a group photo op, please. Thank you very much to Mr. Amit Dhamani for chairing the session. Very, very interesting panel discussion, ladies and gentlemen, on the state of Middle East jewelry industry and the future of 2019 up to 2025. May I please request you all, ladies and gentlemen, to kindly put your hands together for our panelists.